feel tired all the time? Push people away without understanding why. Overreact emotionally and regret it later. Or feel like something inside you just isn't right? What if the problem isn't weakness, isn't laziness, and isn't a personality flaw? What if you're actually living with emotional trauma you never realized you had? Today, you're going to discover 7 hidden signs of emotional trauma that millions of people live with every day without knowing it. And more importantly, how it might still be controlling your life right now. What trauma really is. When people hear the word trauma, they imagine war, violence, or catastrophic events. But modern psychology shows something different. Trauma can also come from growing up constantly criticized, emotional neglect, feeling unsafe at home, rejection or abandonment, never feeling emotionally supported, living in constant tension or instability. Trauma isn't only about what happened. It's about what happened inside you as a result. As trauma expert Bessel van der Kolk explains, trauma is not the event itself. It is the imprint left by that experience on the mind and body. Your brain learns how to survive. But survival mode is not living mode. And when survival mode becomes permanent, your behavior changes without you realizing it. Let's look at the signs. You live in constant alert mode. Do you struggle to relax even when nothing is wrong? Do you always feel like something bad might happen? Many trauma survivors live in permanent alert mode. Common experiences include difficulty relaxing, constant mental tension, always expecting problems, body tension, or shallow breathing, overthinking everything. Your nervous system learned that the world isn't safe, so it stays ready to defend you, even when danger is gone. Living like this drains your energy and slowly leads to anxiety and burnout. You push people away. This one is painful. You want connection. But when someone gets emotionally close, you pull away. You might lose interest suddenly. Create distance in relationships. Avoid emotional conversations. End relationships quickly. Disappear when someone gets close. Why? Because closeness once led to pain. So your brain learned, if I leave first, I won't get hurt later. It feels like independence. But often, it's unconscious self-protection. You feel emotionally numb. Another common trauma response is emotional numbness. You're not deeply sad. But you're not truly happy either. Life feels flat, colorless. You go through the motions, but nothing feels exciting. This happens because when the brain tries to block emotional pain, it blocks emotions in general. Psychologists explain it simply. The emotional system cannot selectively shut down only painful feelings. When it shuts down pain, it also reduces joy. So life starts feeling dull and distant. So far, we've covered 3 hidden signs. Living in constant alert. Pushing people away. Emotional numbness. But the next signs are even more surprising, because they look like personality flaws, when they're actually trauma responses. In the next part, we'll explore why trauma makes you overreact emotionally, why you blame yourself for everything, and why you feel emotionally exhausted all the time. Let's continue. The signs that look like personality flaws, but aren't. In Part 1, we talked about 3 hidden trauma responses. Constant alert mode. Pushing people away. Emotional numbness. Now we move into signs people usually misunderstand, even about themselves. These patterns often look like personality problems, but they are actually survival mechanisms your brain learned long ago. Let's continue. You overreact emotionally. Have you ever reacted strongly to something small and later wondered, why did I react like that? Maybe someone ignored your message. Maybe someone criticized you. Maybe a small conflict ruined your whole day. And your emotional reaction felt bigger than the situation. This happens because trauma keeps the brain stuck in threat detection mode. According to trauma research, when someone experiences chronic emotional stress, the brain's alarm system, especially the amygdala, becomes overactive. Small triggers feel like big threats. So your reaction isn't about the present moment. It's about unresolved emotional memory being activated. In other words, your reaction today may come from pain yesterday. You blame yourself for everything. Many emotionally traumatized people develop extreme self-blame. You might think, it's always my fault. I ruin everything. If something goes wrong, it must be me. This pattern usually starts in childhood. When children grow up in unstable environments, they often assume, if something bad is happening, it must be because of me. Why? Because believing you are the problem feels safer than believing caregivers are unsafe or unreliable. So the brain chooses self-blame as a survival strategy. The child thinks, if I become better, the pain will stop. But the child grows up, and the self-blame stays. Even when situations are not your responsibility anymore. You feel emotionally exhausted all the time. This one confuses many people. They sleep, but wake up tired. They rest, but still feel drained. Why? Because trauma keeps the nervous system active in the background. Even when nothing stressful is happening, the body remains in subtle defense mode. This consumes enormous mental energy. Imagine running a car engine all night long. Even if the car doesn't move, fuel is still being burned. The same happens with your nervous system. Constant emotional vigilance leads to fatigue, brain fog, lack of motivation, difficulty concentrating, emotional burnout. And people often blame themselves for being lazy, when their nervous system is simply exhausted. Midpoint reflection. At this point, you may recognize some of these signs in yourself, and it's important to say this clearly. These patterns are not weakness. They are adaptations. Your brain learned them to protect you. The problem is that survival strategies that once helped can later limit your life. And the final sign might be the most revealing of all, because it affects how you see yourself and your future. In the final part, we'll explore the last hidden sign of emotional trauma, how trauma shapes your identity, and most importantly, how healing actually begins. Because trauma can shape you, but it does not have to define you forever. The last sign, and how healing begins. So far, we've explored 6 hidden signs of emotional trauma. Living in constant alert, pushing people away, emotional numbness, emotional overreactions, constant self-blame, emotional exhaustion. Now comes the final sign, and often the deepest one, because it affects how you see yourself and your future. You feel like something is wrong with you. Many people living with unresolved trauma carry a silent belief. Something is wrong with me. Even when life seems okay on the outside, inside there is a persistent feeling of being broken, different, or not good enough. You may feel behind in life, less capable than others, undeserving of love or success, afraid people will discover the real you. This belief usually forms when emotional needs were ignored or invalidated. When someone grows up feeling unseen or unsafe, the brain often concludes, if my needs aren't met, something must be wrong with me. And this belief becomes part of identity. It shapes choices, relationships, and opportunities people accept or reject. But here is the truth. Trauma changes how you see yourself. It does not define who you actually are. How healing begins. At this point, many people ask, if trauma affects me so deeply, how do I change? Healing does not start by forcing positivity, and it does not start by pretending the past didn't hurt. Healing begins with awareness. Recognizing, my reactions made sense when they were created. Your brain adapted to survive, and now it can learn something new. Experts in trauma recovery, including Bessel van der Kolk, emphasize that healing often involves reconnecting with safety in the body and mind. Some starting points include 1. Learning emotional awareness. Noticing emotional reactions without judging them. Instead of thinking, why am I like this? Try asking, what happened that made my brain learn this response? Curiosity heals faster than self-criticism. 2. rebuilding safety slowly. Trauma healing happens when the nervous system experiences safety again. This can come through safe relationships, therapy, or counseling, supportive communities, calm environments, consistent routines. Small experiences of safety teach the brain that danger is no longer constant. 3. Changing self-talk. Trauma often creates harsh internal dialogue. Healing involves slowly replacing "I'm broken" with "I adapted to survive." You are not weak. You learned survival skills. Now you're learning living skills. If you recognized yourself in this video, understand something important. Nothing is wrong with you. Your mind did exactly what it needed to do to protect you. But protection sometimes becomes a prison. And awareness is the first step toward freedom. Healing is not instant. But every time you understand yourself a little better, you loosen trauma's grip on your life. If this video helped you understand something about yourself, share it with someone who might need to hear this too. And remember, healing doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means no longer letting the past control your future.